question is in the title, so you'll know what I'm talking about. What is the most beautiful thing you've seen today? I'm starting off this montage with this short video because almost every day, especially throughout the warmer seasons, I've been seeing these little starlings, or is it sparrows? These little birds come and visit my house and have a dip in this little, it's kind of a bird bath that I've set up outside. And I thought it was just lovely. This is a baby seagull that I just loved how it was looking over its shoulder. Now this group of cows I actually showed my portfolio folder to, and they were quite interested. And I really enjoy engaging animals in conversation because they come and pay attention. This is what I refer to as my little girl. This is Mona, a little cat who I knew since she was a tiny little kitten. And there she is over my shoulder when I've got my long locks flowing down. These are the type of flowers that I notice sometimes just because I love the different little patterns that they can have. Lovely lush greenery, an amazing cliff edge, and between these big rocks, some wildflowers. Sometimes the things that you notice can be a piece of artwork, whether it's rough or clean, or something which you created yourself, something which has aspects of horror to it, something which has parts of disgust that you experience to it, or something which is just stacks of complicated different bits and pieces. And that even relates to nature here, where you can see these overgrown thistles and vines. Sometimes it's dappled lighting, which you see between the trees and the leaves. A beautiful expanse of a landscape, something which is truly picturesque. And sometimes it can be over rooftops, something a bit more suburban, or the design of a classic car. I also appreciate the groupings of things together, the colour combinations, the chance seeing of smoke and wisp in light. Even during the pandemic, when there was taped off bookshelves, I found that quite interesting. And this is a bit of a joke, is the food bin, which I did a video on where I painted the food bin. And this here is where I'm flicking through a book of war machines. Now, I'm not much of a pro-war person myself, but you've got to admit that when you flick through a book like this, it's got so many interesting pages and designs to it. I just love looking at these things and soaking up the imagery, the compositions of the page, sometimes the colour combinations, but certainly the design and different parts which I notice that I think are really beautiful. Even horrific things like bombs being dropped can have beautiful aspects to them, like the sparks that fly off or the shapes of the smoke or the explosion. Horrifying truth behind the design, but a beautiful part of it can be how some things look. But a lot of this book, my appreciation is for the engineering, the technicality of some of these designs and the machinery, the way that some of the artwork is rendered. And I think it's really important for especially artists who like to draw or paint from imagination, because to look through books like this really helps you to store different things that have worked well and stuck out to you. Now, high contrast is always great, range in different line thicknesses, so really heavy lines with really thin lines. But then books like this is an anatomy book, Gray's Anatomy. I got this because I wanted to have a real insight to what was underneath the skin and to look at the different shapes and combinations of skeletal system, the network of veins and also the muscle groups, the muscular, the diagrams which show the muscular structures. Things like that can be endlessly fascinating. And I haven't studied anatomy, so I can't teach on that type of thing. But at the same time, when I look at it, I just love the kind of layering in the depth to each of these structures and forms. That's the type of thing which I really try to tap into when it comes to drawing from imagination is things which I've seen and have had an effect on me in some way or other because of how phenomenally complex it is and how impactful the truth beneath it is as well. So this can be a mixture of x-rays, diagrams, and different drawings and renderings. Looking through books like this is great to do before you start a sketch or a doodle, because you will find certain small ideas and observations will sneak into the drawing that you've made. And this is all about observation and retaining information. The things that you value out of everything that you've seen in these pages, what is it that sticks out to you? And you can see, as I'm looking through this book, I'm stopping at certain pages and pointing at things, saying this is beautiful, this is amazing, this really has an impact on me. Sometimes it's because there'll be a spiral in there, or there'll be just layers of different kind of muscle tissue all overlapping each other. Muscle tissue? Don't know if it's called muscle tissue, but you know what I mean. The different complicated structures that make up the human body. This book is on minimalism. Again, a phenomenal book to look through, just to try and soak up some of the more inspirational aspects of design. And because you're seeing these things in the real world, it has this incredible dynamism to it, which just drawing sometimes don't. So it's nice to see things actually there, built. Now, I love the depth of that image as well, just to see the doorway through that passageway and through different rooms. Things like that have a big impact on me. And this is what I mean about what is the most beautiful thing. And it's a superlative. So I do say that in this video. I'll say that to certain guests is, don't let that put you off, or don't let it affect your answer to say, is that the most beautiful thing? Because that can be a bit of a trick. Now, this is a book which I had delivered, and I open it up on camera. One of my favourite artists, Claude Monet. So flicking through this again will show just this incredible body of work by this impressionist painter. And I love the compositions, the colours, the execution, the way that he's actually created the scene. Even in black and white, it's really striking to me. His choices of where to sit and paint and to frame this image. But the way that he actually achieves it with the paint, his brush technique, things like that have a real profound impact on me. In fact, there are videos on YouTube it's a slideshow of Claude Monet's work set to classical music. And I've played that several times just to enjoy and to get me in the mood and in that zone of being creative.